Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to go over what would be the player hiding from the zombie. This is a continuation from the last tutorial I did, and if you haven't seen it, you should go check that out, and I'll leave a link in the description. Now, in our last tutorial, we just did a single plane where the zombies and the player moved around, where if the player went in the line of sight of the zombie would start chasing it. Now what we want to do is, if there are other obstacles like walls or something where the player can hide in sight from the zombie, we want the zombie to not be able to see through those walls. Currently the condition is if he's within the line of sight and if he's within certain distance, but this doesn't check if there are obstacles in front of the zombie that could interfere with the line of sight. So that's what we're going to do now. To do this, we're going to first put an obstacle, which would be a cube. This cube would have to have a collider. We're going to use a ray cast to check from the zombie to the player. I'm going to enable this layer here, and effectively the line of sight would be reduced to the cube. So yeah, we're going to use actually not a ray cast, but a line cast. A line cast, you can define an origin, a start position and end position. So the start position would be a zombie and the end position would be the player. If we intersect with anything in between those two, that means there's an obstacle. If the line cast hits the player, that means the zombie has seen him. Okay, so here I have a scene on how we left it off on the last tutorial. I am going to do a demonstration of what happens if we use a wall. So I'm going to delete all the zombies except one. And I'm going to move him around over here. And we're going to put a cube to simulate our wall. If we put a wall here, he should not be able to see us. I'm going to move the scene view down here so we can see. So the zombie currently cannot see us. Even though he's within the wall, he can see us and start chasing us. So that is the problem that we're going to be fixing today. Okay. I'm going to move the scene view back up here. What we want to do is open our AI example script that we did the last time. And we're going to go to the search for player function that we did last time. And we're going to go within this if. I'm going to create another if. This is going to be called if physics.linecast. So we're going to use the... Did we use a layer for our player? I can't remember. No, we do not have a layer for our player. So we're not going to use a layer mask. For our line casts, we have our start position would be our transform position, and our end would be the player. We have a reference to the player here in our first person controller, so we're going to use this. FPSC.transform position. Int layer mask, I believe a -1 would be all layers, and we don't need anything else. So we're going to open, and we're going to include our on. We have to make sure our onAware function is within this if. We're going to we're going to need an out variable of raycast hit, so we're going to do that. Raycast hit. Remember that raycast hit variable saves all the information of a raycast or linecast or anything that shoots a ray. So I believe if we put hit out hit here, it should work. Indeed. So the first parameter would be our transform. This would be where it starts, where it ends, and where to save our hit information. We're going to need this because this will reference the object we hit, and we're going to have to check the tag. If the tag, we're going to actually give this tag a player. We're going to need the player to have a player tag because we're going to check the tag of the object and see if it equals player. If it equals player, it means we hit the player and then the zombie can start chasing him. If it does not equal player, if it hit the wall, it would hit untagged. Then the zombie stays unaware. So if hit dot tag dot transform dot compare tag, and we're gonna put the tag of the player, which would be player, then we make him unaware. So that's, I think, it. Let's try it out. So I'm going to move the scene view down over here. I'll play. So if I go within the wall now, he does not see me. However, if I were to move this cube to sideways, as soon as it does not block me, he starts chasing me. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it. I'm going to try that one more time. So there he sees me as soon as I am not within the wall. Once he sees me, well, he can start going through the wall. The way to fix this would be to rebake the navigation mesh. So I'm going to do that now. If we go into navigation, we can see that our navigation mesh goes through the box. So to rebake the mesh, we first have to mark the cube or wall or any other object that we want as an obstacle and mark it as static. The next thing we need to do is go into our bake tab and bake. It's going to take a second, and now you can see that the nav mesh goes around the cube. So if we play this, the zombie cannot see us, he cannot see us, he cannot see us until we go through the wall. Now he can see us, and now if he chases us, he will go around the cube. He won't go through it. So yeah, that's all there is to it. I hope this was useful, and any questions you might have, you can leave them in the description. If you're interested in seeing more behaviors, like for example the zombie wandering or the zombie being able to lose the player or anything else, you can make suggestions in the comments. So I hope you learned something.